Well, for more, let's go to New York City. Simon Vozick-Levinson is deputy music editor at Rolling Stone magazine. Thank you for being with us here on France 24.
Thanks so much for having me.
Neil Young has, over his long career, written songs against the Vietnam War, against the Ku Klux Klan, in favor of protecting the environment. Here, it's not a song, but it's quite a stand.
Yes, it's a very bold and I think brave choice that Neil Young has made to put his principles above profit.
And in this particular case, he could take a big hit. It's the sign of how much the times have changed since, well, when I was a kid, you went to the record store to buy records.
Yes, that's right. Well, streaming is how people listen to music now. So pulling your music from a service like Spotify is no easy choice for a musician. But this is a very personal issue for Neil Young. He had polio when he was a kid. Vaccines mean something very important to him. And I think he sees the danger of spreading misinformation about life-saving vaccines.
He thanked his record label because his record label will, of course, share in that economic pain.
Yes, that's right. It's not going to be an easy one for anyone's pocketbooks. But again, I think for Neil Young, the choice was either continuing to go along and be complicit with that spread of dangerous misinformation about medical science or take a stand. And I think he made the right choice.
I've been looking online, and there's a lot of haters out there. What have been the reactions overall?
Well, any decision like this makes a lot of noise. Joe Rogan has a lot of fans. It's an extremely popular podcast. And so, of course, there's been some blowback. But most of the reaction that I've seen has been made up of people applauding Neil Young for doing the right thing and putting his money where his mouth is here.
How much? What does this say about Spotify itself? I mean, uh, again, I go back to the fact that times have changed. It's not just a record distributor; it's also a publisher, since it hosts this popular podcast.
Yes, that's right. Spotify is a huge source of both music and also ideas, conversations, thoughts, and that gives it an important responsibility that I think many in the world are calling for it to take seriously.
It says it has. It's made statements as such in the past. Does this undermine its efforts? It says to stamp out hate speech on its platform.
Right. And I think we can take Spotify at their word that they don't want to distribute harmful information. But at a certain point, when one of their most popular podcasts continues casting dubious questions against life saving medical science, I think it's a choice that they have to face.
At Rolling Stone magazine, at what point did you make that decision? It wasn't going to be, well, we'll give 50% of time to one side and 50% of time to the other when it comes to vaccine misinformation.
Rolling Stone has always believed in reporting the truth, no matter whom it offends or scares, and this is no different.
It's no different, you say, but I mean, how much blowback has there been since the beginning of this pandemic?
Well, I think that we've always stood on the side of science and on the side of medicine. I don't think that's a hard decision for us to make.
And we see that the rock world has been divided. There have been instances of famous artists who've taken a stand that is opposite to that of Neil Young. How much has it divided the music community?
There are always dissenting voices on any issue as controversial as this, but actually, I think for the most part, the music world has been pretty united in supporting vaccines and supporting public health efforts because musicians need the world to be safe and they need it to be safe to attend concerts for them to get their music out to people. So musicians don't like a world in which there's an endless pandemic any more than anyone else does.
Simon, the fact that this is Neil Young doing it, does that only speak to guys like you and me who have gray hair?
It may be, but Neil Young, he built his legend on saying what he believes, never being afraid to express his mind, even if that sometimes shocked people, even if that seemed a little bit too blunt. That's one of his characteristic traits. And so to me, it's no surprise, and I'm happy to see him taking a stand.
Simon Vozick-Levinson, one final question. He's 76 years old now. He's still performing, still making music. How much attention does Neil Young get these days?
Well, I think this week has shown that Neil Young can still get the world's attention just as he was able to when he was in his 20s many decades ago. And I think that's pretty impressive.
All right. Simon Vozick-Levinson of Rolling Stone magazine, thank you so much for speaking with us from New York City.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.